Dean, can you hear me? This is God speaking, Dean. Jackson, Becky. Have you? Kev.
Hey, I'm sorry. I just saw the note that said text him because he's fishing.
Oh, yes.
How the hell do you get to go fishing?
So we're going to start the meeting, or we want to wait a few for Jeff? It's easy. Everybody hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Yep.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Okay. Jeff's
can
not
hear
here
you.
right this second, so we're going to give him a minute to get here.
I can hear you.
I can see you. Is that a Packer shirt?
No, it's Duluth Trading. I'm sweating like crazy right now. Dang it.
Okay, we're going to call this meeting to order. It's about 3:02. If you have a cell phone, shut them off. Just so you guys on Zoom can hear me or not, we can't take any action today, but we can have our meeting. We don't have anything to pass on or whatever because we don't have a physical 3 people here in the building. So we can still have our meeting, do our discussions, whatever, hear our reports. And we don't have anything to take action on anyway, so we're just going to go ahead with it. Don't scratch your head, Tom. All right, roll call.
Okay, we got Tom Wilson,
Here.
Dean Friel,
Here.
Jack Scrogstead,
Here.
Chris Robertson,
Here.
Mike Pearson.
Here.
All right, I don't see any other board members or department heads. If there are no changes or corrections, minutes from September 11th, Facilities and Maintenance Committee will stand as presented. I hear no changes. Next, we'll hear from Jeff on his department report, please. Turn the bottom one on. There's one on the bottom. Yep. Yeah, the red one's on. Just hit the.
Good afternoon. So we got a few things here on the list. We're working on the bats here at the old courthouse. I think they are gone for the season. So we did put up a bat house outside and did some cameras to kind of keep an eye on where they were going, where they were coming from and all. Didn't really identify anything because about the time I had the cameras up, they kind of slowed up dramatically and disappeared. So we got a few things in place for next year anyways, so we'll continue that. Second item was Michael Hager got hired on as maintenance tech. He's doing well, so I think we're in good shape there. We also hired a custodial person, Jennifer Madden. So she seems to have quite a bit of experience in that department, so she's doing well in that area as well. The old courthouse here, we got the concrete poured for the steps out to the south side there. The railings are on. Now we're just waiting for the landscaping to get done and put in, so that should be coming shortly. Still working on some methods for cleaning the terrazzo here at the old courthouse. We're working on, the architect is drawing up plans for the overhead garage door at the old jail. He should have that done by the end of the week. We were going to meet before the end of the week, go over those plans, make sure that it all makes sense. And then hopefully we could get moving forward on those garage doors, or that garage door. I
And
should say.
Jeff,
We're gonna do one.
we're I'm sorry, we're going down from 2 doors to one 12-foot door, correct?
Correct, yep.
Because we're just going to stay to the south because the structural engineer said he didn't want to screw with that other window.
Yeah, well, if we go into those other windows on the north side of that wall, then as you pull in, you're banging into pillars, and I can just see that turn into kind of a nightmare with guys banging into that at 2 o'clock in the morning, you know.
Okay.
So, working on consolidating chemicals and getting that set up for the custodial staff as well. So we're consistent with the chemicals we're using, have all our SDS sheets for that. And everybody hopefully has got we'll work on creating a SOP for the housekeeper or custodial staff as well. So everybody's kind of doing their work the same way. The preventative maintenance and work request system, that's been purchased. I've got about 80% of that put into the system as far as the assets. So I have to put every room and then every piece of equipment that we have into the system. So that's about 80% loaded. Then I have to put the guys in, put the preventative maintenance requests in, and then we can open it up to everybody to start using it. So it'll be a little bit still, but we're making, I think, good progress on it. And that's, I think that's about it for the highlights anyway.
And then Jeff, I'm sorry, Dean, go ahead.
I was just going to ask, update everybody, because on the elevator project here, I know it got.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry. The elevator project also got bumped back to, I believe they said the end of October. I don't have that on my sheet here, sorry.
Yes. So another question is maintenance 3. We're going to lose Dick Capacious in the spring. Are we in a situation where we're going to start looking for a maintenance 3 pretty soon before the first of the year? Where are we at with that? Because we're going to be down Dick Capacious. We're already down Rick, Ryan. So we're basically down 2 full-timers, and Dick will be the 3rd. Are we going to hire a maintenance 3 anytime soon, or what's on our radar screen there?
So we replaced Ryan with Michael, so we're caught up there. I think as far as the maintenance 3, honestly, I kind of feel like we're holding our own at this point, and so I think I've been kind of working on the preventative maintenance program, trying to get that loaded up and running. That'll free me up a bunch of time, give the guys direction so they know which way to go. And then I'd like to try and turn my focus onto that after that.
Okay, good.
All right, and the reason the elevator project got postponed was availability of parts. So rather than come and get started and find out they needed parts, they're holding off to get started. So we're not down an elevator for 4 months versus, or 4 weeks versus shorter period of time. So
Yeah, we can't have Bob Olson and Tom Kitson taking the stairs for that long.
and you're going to be there to help me up and down the steps, right?
I forgot about you, Dean. I'm sorry.
All right. Thanks for that, Jeff. I know you're entering a lot of information into that system, but once it's up and running, I think it'll be a
Yeah.
good step.
Absolutely.
All right, we'll move on. No work orders. I don't see any unfinished business. We're going to move on to new business. And we're just going to have discussion today about surveillance cameras, signage down at for you other two gentlemen, I don't know if you know where it's at. It's down on 4th Street where the old township building is, a recyclable place for people to put recyclables. So that's what we're going to talk about right now. If we got a minute.
That's been a real mess.
I'm sorry.
It's been a real mess down there.
So
Wendy, are you able to bring up maybe an overview of GIS?
Can't hear Jack.
I was just asking Wendy if she can bring up the GIS map overlooking the food pantry, so these guys, if they don't know where we're talking about.
Well, is there not cameras already down there, but they're just not operational or what? Or I thought I seen cameras down there before.
So there is one facing the area right now, but it's not functional. It doesn't work. I'm going to give you some information. I talked to Dave Anderson today, Tom, about this situation or whatever. Jack's got some info on putting up some cameras to cover the whole area. I asked Dave, I said, how often do people dump couches, so on and so forth down there? I said, is it once a month? He said, no, it's nothing that often or that extreme. So I don't know if you're talking a pretty good dollar amount to put up those cameras, oversee them. I don't know. I'm still up in the air about it, but Jack, if you want to give a little more, but I did talk to Dave and Jack did for a minute too, just to see how big of a deal it was. He said initially it was put down there because it's a county thing. City of Dixon has their own recycle system. So they put it on county property. It's kind of out of the way. It doesn't interfere with anything right now. So that was the original intent of putting it down there. So people outside of town could come in and put their recyclables in there rather than if it was in town, I don't know if they would use it or not. So I'll just let Jack give you the info he's got and then we can talk about it some more.
When I was tasked by Chairman Olson about camera system, he knew I had a background in surveillance camera system. And so I went to the food pantry, talked to them, because I know if we were going to use any kind of surveillance system, we'd want to be able to tap into their internet. So that way we could view remotely any camera systems. So that way you could use a cell phone or a desktop to tap into that system to view it. You wouldn't have to drive down all the way down there to look at the camera system. And they were telling me that they're constantly calling the township to remove some of these items that were there because people just use it as a dumping ground and whatnot. So looking at that, and then also consulting with audio video, talking to Ken Cook there, we could, in essence, get a NVR, which is kind of like a newer version of the DVR, and have a 4-camera hookup, but only use 3 cameras. 1 camera pointing directly at the entrance facing 4th Street, have it zoomed in right onto the entrance or the driveway of it, maybe to capture the front plate or the front of the vehicle, and also the same on Custard. as the entrance comes in to, to get any vehicles leaving or coming in, getting there, capturing that license plate or getting a better description of that. And then have one, just an overlook of the view of the dumpster area. So that way, if all of a sudden we see, or someone sees there's, a couch or somebody's leaving all kinds of garbage there, we could roll back the tape to see when that took place, get a description of that, and then look at that vehicle as they were coming in and get a better description, whether it be a license plate or not, and then turning that information over to the city police and having them do an ordinance type violation or whatever the case would be. So that was the purpose there of that cost. And we could actually grant access to the trash people, giving them minimum access that they could just, take a look at it and see if there's, we need to go and dump that because it's overflowing or whatever the case is. Or somebody else that could actually roll back the video or maybe even make it zoom in a little tighter, making adjustments because it would be a camera. And then Ken Cook also indicated that he could make that camera stand out like it's, hey, you're on candid camera, rather than it's being hidden, under an eaves or something like that. He says he would make the housing system to stand out, that it looks there. And then I thought about we could reach out to any kind of newspaper or Facebook or whatever the case would be that, hey, this place is being monitored by camera and audio, or not audio, but video surveillance, maybe curb any kind of dumping going on there. And then, the police will be, looking at suspects if that's the case. So that was the process of the video and hooking up there. So, and now we're at this point.
Hey, Jack. Were those cameras able to see at night?
Yes, they would be infrared. And then there's some lighting already there. So the existing light and the infrared would be able to capture that license plate.
Okay. Just because I feel just personally that I think a lot of this dumping happens at night only because they're about a month ago or 3 weeks ago when it was really bad. I took pictures and sent it to Bob Olson to show him, it is kind of a bad reflection on the county. It makes the county look bad. I feel it was probably a lot of people are dumping at night and not trying to avoid that camera that is there but not functionable.
Yeah, the technology nowadays, it would be an infrared, and so we'd be able to capture that vehicle as it's coming in.
Okay.
They do have specific cameras as well that are made to focus on the license plates too. Again, you're talking a little more cost there though.
Right. And I think we were looking at, there is a camera. I do some security work out at a local POA, Lost Lake, and we are currently looking at getting license plate cameras for our gate system to capture those vehicles that are coming in and getting that plate number. And audio video is putting in those cameras as well as soon as the cameras get okayed by the board that they have out there. But I would then recommend that if we're going to go that route, maybe we should look at the capturing of these license plates for that particular camera. So it would be a little more expensive than I think the 3,400 that we got a quote from.
Who's going to monitor this stuff, Jack?
Well, it wouldn't necessarily need to be monitored all the time. You would see where there's, garbage dumped on a particular day. Someone would notice it, whether it be the food pantry let us know or whatnot. And then you can just go back, and look at it. I mean, when
who's they? Who's we?
I'm going to say, since this is a solid waste deal, it would have to go into Dave's office, someone down there, whether it be him or,
But we're using county resources and time and what have you to get the footage, look back over however many hours of footage. And then we're gonna go to the city police and expect them to go do their thing. And then Jack, in my opinion, I just think we moved the dumpster up where we talked, and the amount of money and resources we're going to spend going back, looking at someone dumping something. And then we're so sympathetic to those, and we don't want to put codes into our zoning department because we don't want to burden people. Well, do we really want to go after somebody who can't afford to put their couch at the curb and then go give them a $200 ticket that they can't afford? I mean, I think we're spending money, and we're going to spend resources, not only our own resources, but the city of Dixon police don't have the resources to go back and, police that stuff. I mean, at least I don't think they do, but I think moving it to a more a location that's a lot less desirable to go to and do something to is a better solution than spending that money on the cameras, maintaining the cameras, and then also the resources it's going to take to go monitor the cameras, and then going to the city of Dixon to have them do their investigative work. And I just don't know how many people are pulling up there, and I mean, I don't know. Just my thoughts.
So my thoughts, Tom, I know it was talked about moving them to town. I asked him about that also. He said there's some things with that might be detrimental. The amount of space it's going to take up for people to pull in, if they're pulling a trailer to make turns. I go down to the one on 4th Street and there's stuff on the ground all the time. So you're going to be constantly picking up trash. Are you going to put a fence around it? Is that going to be an additional cost? And then we also talked about snow removal, if that's going to hinder our people from removing snow. He also said that sometimes when there's a jury trial that they use that parking lot for jurors to park in. So I was just sounding him out for the cons for moving it. Plus, he also said that if it was in the city limits, you might get people in Dixon putting their stuff there. Therefore, you're going to incur more dumps, quicker than you would if it was just down where it's at.
Isn't it in the city limits now?
No, I believe
It's on
that's how
county property, but it's in the confines of the city.
I thought Cropsey was the cutoff.
I believe the county owns that lot.
They own the
But it's in-
lot. They don't, the city extends all
The
the way out
city,
to
yeah.
where Becky's parents live.
Cropsey used to be the cutoff, but that's been years ago, Tom.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, if we spend the money on the cameras or whatever, but I mean, we obviously need new signage. I mean, rather than make that big step until we find out what's going on with the old LEC, I'm of the opinion just to leave it where it's at and put up new signage, and that's just my opinion.
Yeah, put up signage and not spend $3,000 on cameras. So,
For something that we might move, once things develop down the road too.
yeah, that building could be condemned.
So anybody else, I'm just voicing my opinions, and that's what we're here for, just to share ideas. And Mike, are you online? Did you have any comments? I know we heard from Chris.
I do see points from both sides. Maybe starting off with more signage would be a good idea.
And there is a camera there, just how many people know it don't work. I mean, if you would put up more signage, it might.
They do now.
They what?
They know now.
Yeah. So, what else was I going to say?
You could get a fake camera with a light that flashes. At
Right.
least change the approach. again, temporary, but either way, even if we move it down across from the LEC, we're going to have a lot of mess and a lot of pickup and expense there as well, same as what we've got where it's at now, right?
I think people be a lot less likely to make a mess across the street from the police department in the old LEC than they would down there.
Yeah, maybe so, but then it also brings that trucks and trailers pretty close to maintenance shed and maintenance area. And makes me a little nervous to have that there. You can load up your trailer while you're there dumping off a couch and pick up a, who knows what we might have hanging out.
Something else too, Jack, that might cut down on if the food pantry is calling the township first, rather, just tell them, hey, contact us. And then if we want to get Ed Fritz and his crew down there, it might save, somebody bending somebody else's ear about something too. Just my opinion. Chris, did you have anything more to add? I know we heard from you earlier.
No, I think we could try with the signs and maybe, like you said, put a camera, a fake camera, but flashes or whatever. But I don't know. I think wherever you move it, you're probably still going to kind of have a garbage problem just because people can't respect stuff to dump recyclables. They just get rid of the garbage. It seemed to happen like after a bunch of garage sales that were in town, that bad one typed of. So, because a lot of boxes and lamps and just garage sale stuff. So, like I said, we could try signage and see how that goes.
And I'm not running down your ideas, Jack, or what the information you got.
Nope.
I'm just,
Nope, doesn't matter to me. Wherever you guys decide to do or not to do anything. So I put forth through my committee, because it was coming out of, it was solid waste. So we started it with solid waste and then since it was going to be put on facilities property, we decided to put it here. So it doesn't matter to me.
In your conversations with Dave Anderson, did anybody talk to him specifically about the cameras? Did he have any feedback to that? I wondered specific to the solid waste if it couldn't.
He liked the idea when I originally
Yeah.
approached him about it. So he liked it. So, and he was ready to run with it. The idea, he was going to pull the money out of solid waste more than likely. He had it in his budget. So, or he thought he had it. That's what he indicated to me. So.
And that's what I heard is that he had the money in the solid waste budget and he thought it was an appropriate expenditure to the solid waste budget. That doesn't mean you can't do the signage first. The good news is the signage would be from Dave Anderson's office as well and through the solid waste budget. So that can be your first step and then you can reanalyze. But if you do want to go forward with cameras at some point, keep in mind that it's an applicable expense to the solid waste budget.
see, I didn't know that part of it either.
Yeah, the
so.
sign is really in bad shape, so he does need a new sign regardless. So that's why it originally was surveillance and new signage because the sign was bad. So when I went to talk to them, they says, the sign, you can't even read it. And he looked at it. Yeah, you could read maybe a letter here and there, but that was about it. It was in bad shape.
So technically, we couldn't make a motion or move anything forward from this committee. So maybe the thing to do is do the signage next time around. If you want to go through, I didn't realize solid waste had money or what the financial thing was going to be. So, I mean, we're basically here for discussion today. Tom, any ideas or thoughts? Besides the Packers?
No. Nope.
My understanding, the signage that Dave, from one of your earlier conversations, Jack, was already heading down that path. Did you confirm that today with him or?
I did not because
Okay.
I reached out to him, told we weren't going to have it on the agenda, not to worry about it.
Okay.
So any more discussion? So we can't make a motion or anything today too, so we'll just leave it at that. And if you want to talk to Bob or whatever, and, you know, however you want to. Okay, let's see what else we have. No executive session. Anybody have anything else to say for the good of the cause?
Yeah, the Allied, with the engineering and what have you, that Allied's doing, we're supposed to be getting something back soon as far as what was engineered and what our budget number will be, so we can get this thing rolling. We're supposed to hear back something, I would hope, in the next week to 10 days, I would hope. But John Seaton's been working on the engineering, and we're trying to get things dialed in for the boiler and the boiler room and all the heating systems. And the engineering's taking place now, so it's not going to be long before we can actually act on getting something that we can send to the full board as far as the project goes. So, and we're shooting for the project to be under $4 million. The original, the original from what they were telling Doug was 6.6 million. And we're going to try to be under 4 million with the whole project. So we are waiting to hear back from Doug on that.
All right, thank you. Anything else? I'll take a motion for adjournment.
First,
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor, signify by aye.
All right.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you.